Hey, we're going to talk about indoor hanging plants today. I put together a list for you of 9 of my favorite plants that are hard to kill and easy to love. I don't know if you've noticed, but plants right now are really popular. Obviously, we've always had plants in our home, but right now they just seem to be particularly popular on social media and just basically wherever you look on the internet. If you're looking at interior photos and stuff, plants are everywhere. The problem with having a lot of plants is that they fill up your house pretty quick. One thing you can do to incorporate even more plants into your space is to hang them. And that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays. And it looks great. So there's just a few things to keep in mind before you go plant shopping. It's 4 things: light, water, humidity, and toxicity. If you have pets and you don't want them to die, then don't get a plant that's toxic to your pet. Okay, so let's get started with the list. The first plant on our list is the devil's ivy. The devil's ivy is very satisfyingly leafy. It's very easy to care for, and actually it gets its name from the fact that it is so difficult to, it's basically impossible to kill devil's ivy. Get it? Devil's ivy is an evergreen trailing vine. It requires very little sunlight, very little water, some humidity, but not a lot. Very, very easy plant and quite beautiful. The leaves are heart-shaped. For this reason, devil's ivy often gets confused with philodendron. Even in stores, sometimes it gets mislabeled. However, this plant is toxic to pets, so you'll want to stay away from it if you have animals at home. The second plant on the list is the Boston fern. Everyone knows what a fern is, right? They're beautiful bushy plants with serrated fronds, and they're a beautiful vibrant green. They're really great because they're very tolerant to drought. And although they do require quite a moist soil, they can go periods without water. They are non-toxic to pets, which is great. The next plant is the Heartleaf Philodendron. This is a beautiful evergreen climber. It has deep green, glossy, heart-shaped leaves and is extremely tolerant to drought. I know this from personal experience. You can leave this plant, the soil can become bone dry and it will be fine. Obviously, don't do that. Try and water it every now and then, but this plant is going to do fine. I've had mine for years and it does great. The Heartleaf Philodendron requires medium sunlight, medium water, and medium humidity, and they are actually toxic to pets. But they don't drop a lot of leaves either, so we have a dog and we have Heartleaf Philodendron, and I shouldn't say this. I don't want to promote people to get this plant if they have pets. It's toxic, period. So the next plant on the list is the good old spider plant. Now, the spider plant was really popular, I think, in the 70s, and then it fell out of favor, but it's back now. People love the spider plant. This is because it's really, really easy to take care of. It comes in quite a few different varieties, I think. There's the stripy kind, and then there's just the solid green kind, which is what I have. And they're actually very visually impressive when they grow because they have these arched shoots that look beautiful from a hanging pot or basket. Spider plants require a high amount of sunlight, a moderate amount of water, and a moderate amount of humidity, but they are very easy to look after. Spider plants are non-toxic to pets, which is great, so you can put them in your home if you have dogs or cats and you'll be fine. The next plant is English ivy. English ivy is a woody perennial climber. It is so easy to grow that it's actually considered an invasive species in some countries. In fact, in Oregon, import and sales are actually banned. In hanging pots and baskets, though, it's great because it's easy to care for and it won't obviously take over the rest of your garden because it's contained to a basket or to a pot. The amount of light that English ivy needs is quite a lot. It needs bright light, it needs medium water, and medium humidity. It's also toxic to dogs and cats, so you'll want to keep that away from your pets. The Mistletoe Cactus is the next plant on our list, and it is incredibly easy to look after as it requires minimal light, minimal water, but it does need a lot of humidity, so there is that. It has droopy, pale stems and looks absolutely beautiful from hanging baskets. This plant actually produces flowers. They're little small flowers and even edible fruits, which taste a little bit like grapes. This plant is not toxic to pets. Next up is the string of pearls. The string of pearls is a beautiful succulent creeping vine, and like with most succulents, it requires very little care to survive and thrive. The string of pearls looks a lot like peas, like the peas that you eat, and they look absolutely beautiful if you grow it and you have it spill off to the side in a hanging pot or planter. It requires medium sunlight, very little water, and very little humidity, and it will do just fine. It is toxic to pets, so keep that in mind. The next plant is the string of hearts. The string of hearts is another trailing succulent, and it is also very low maintenance because it can tolerate neglect and it'll do just fine. This plant has vines that are adorned by little heart-shaped leaves, and they look really beautiful from hanging planters. The leaves are generally dark green, but if your plant doesn't get quite enough sunlight, they may turn paler. So that's one indication that your plant needs more sun. String of heart needs a lot of sunlight, minimum water, and medium humidity. And it is safe for pets, so it is non-toxic to pets. One of my favorite hanging plants to grow at home is the morning glory, and that's the last one we'll be looking at on this list today. They are so easy to grow from seed, is not even funny. You can have a full plant in like 2 or 3 months with blooming flowers. The flowers on morning glories are shaped kind of like trumpets, and you can get lots of different colors, but my favorite is heavenly blue. Morning glory flowers open in the morning and close at night. That's why they're called morning glories. They're actually also considered invasive, I think, in some countries because they grow like weeds, but they're beautiful. It has this like deep bluish purple flower and beautiful thin vines that have these big heart-shaped deep green leaves. Morning glories are vining plants, so naturally they'll try to vine and twine themselves around your pot, but you can kind of train them to hang if you let them grow. The seeds are really cheap to buy. They're a couple bucks. You can just plant them and they'll grow within a couple months. Morning glories need full sunlight, medium water, and medium humidity, and they are toxic to pets. I really hope you enjoyed this and that you found it useful. If you'd rather read this information, I put it together in an article that has all the same slides, and I'll link to it below if you want to take a look at that. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.